Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing the book philosophy tag. So this is a tag with a bunch of questions just about like your personal book philosophy. And so there's actually like 20 questions. So I'm going to try and go through this fairly quickly so that I'm not like taking a whole bunch of time explaining every answer to the fullest. So yeah, let's get into it. Also, I apologize for my bad hair day that I'm having right now. It might not look that bad to you guys, but like I was outside shoveling snow, so I had my toque on, so my hair's all messy. Yeah, it's just a thing. Anyways, so the first question is, what's most important, a good character, plot, or message? Personally, I think that the plot is the most important because I feel like that carries me through a book when I'm reading. If it's a book that's just about characters and it's like very character driven, I am not as into the book as I would be if there's like a fast paced plot happening at the same time. Like, yes, I do love really great characters, but I need that plot to be awesome or like fast and just so many things are happening and it just keeps going really quickly. Like I love those type of plots. So the plot is definitely the most important thing to me. The message is like whatever. Like if it's a positive message at the end, that's cool. If there is no message at the end, but it was still like a really fun time getting there with the plot, then yeah, that's what I like the best about the book. Then we have, should one read books about ideas or opinions that they disagree with? And I would say yes, you should, because then you can kind of see more of what the other, like if you're having a debate about something, then you can see a little bit more what the other person is talking about, where they're coming from in their own opinion. And so, yeah, it's kind of just like doing research. So if you feel a certain way about one thing, you're doing your research on the other subject to make sure that you absolutely still stand where you do. So I don't know. Like it's a hard question to answer, but I would say yes. Like you should read those books just so you have that information yourself. Then we have, as tech advances, what do you think will be the role of books? I honestly think that books will still be around. Yes, we do have ebooks, and I think it's fantastic that we have Kindles and things that we can read ebooks on because that opens up our libraries to so many options. But I do still think that paper books will be here because if you think about it, paper books have been around for a very long time and they still have not gone away. So I think that they're going to be here for a while longer. And I am happy about that because I personally prefer reading a book in my hand rather than like a digital book. A physical book in my hands is what I want. And I think a lot of people agree with me on that one. How important are summaries, reviews, and art in your choosing a book? So I do really like beautiful book covers. That is not the sole decision for me though when it comes to a book. I will read the back, read the summary, and see if it's something that I think I would like. I don't tend to read reviews before I jump into a book because I don't want to be spoiled for anything. And I know that a lot of reviews can have spoiler content in them. So I'm kind of like wary of going to read reviews until I'm like, maybe if I'm in the book and I'm not enjoying myself, I'll read reviews to see if other people agree with my opinions on it. But yeah, the art is definitely important though because that draws me to actually pick up the book and read the back of it. So that's like the first indicator. And then yeah, then I'll read the back, and if I think it fits, then I'll read it. I also read a lot of books on my channel that like I probably wouldn't have picked up from the cover, but they were sent to me, and some of them ended up being really good books. So it's not always just about the cover. Should one ever skim or scan a book? Absolutely. There has been a many a time that I have found myself zoning out while reading books and just skimming to get through it because I don't really like to DNF that much. So sometimes if it's a book I'm not really enjoying, I'll definitely skim to get to the end. And yeah, I think that's just self-care for yourself because if you're not enjoying it, you might as well, most people would say just DNF, but I like to try and give it the full opportunity to get me by the end. Like maybe it has a redeeming end of the book. So sometimes I'll let it keep going, and I will skim though. I will. Should reading always be enjoyable? I think so. I think it's important to be enjoying what you're reading. Now I know that like for example textbooks aren't exactly enjoyable, so you have to read those for school. and that sucks. I wish, well, I mean, if it's a subject you really enjoy, then maybe you are enjoying reading the textbook. That could happen. Like, I had lots of design textbooks that I had to read, and I did enjoy reading those. So, yeah. I do think that reading should be enjoyable, though, and that you should be having a fun time doing it. Otherwise, why would you? Is it important to be well read? I think it's a nice thing to be well read, but like, I don't think you have to be well read. Like, everybody is different. If you want to be well read, that's your choice, and that's pretty much the fact of the matter. Like, you can be well read if you want to, and if you don't like reading, then don't be well read. It's fine. What is your book buying process? Add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. I mean, it's become that basically because of COVID, but otherwise I'll be in the bookstore, perusing the shelves. I think I've pretty much told you guys my process every time I talk about this, but I go to the bookstore, I go to the bargain rack first to look through there and see if there's anything I want. Then I go to the YA section, check out all that, see if there's anything I like there. Then I move my way over to fantasy and sci-fi, look over there, see if there's anything I like there. And then graphic novels, which is also in like the fantasy sci-fi area. So yeah, that's like the loop I do. And I usually end up leaving the bookstore with something. How do you use what you read? I think that we use what we read every day. Like, there's always things in a book that you will take something from, and we use those in our day-to-day lives. So there could be like certain character interactions that you thought were really cool, or certain ways that one character treats another character, and you want to use that and put that forward in your life, so you can do that too. If you're reading textbooks, you're literally taking that knowledge and putting it into like the effort of doing your job or whatever your career is that you have. So yeah, like, I think we do definitely use what we read. And yeah, if you could download a book to your brain, would you still read it? See, this is where I think textbooks, I would download textbooks to my brain so that I don't have to read them. But books wise, I think I would still read my books that like I read for fun the way I do, because there's something so nice about snuggling up on a couch, getting cozy with a blanket, having a nice warm drink beside you, and just sitting down to read. I don't know. There's something about that is just so peaceful and calming, and I wouldn't want to give that up. Like, I think that's fantastic, and it's such a nice activity to do. And so if I could just download it, then I wouldn't be doing that activity anymore, and I think that is kind of a bummer. So yeah, no, I would use it for textbooks only. What are your views on rereading a book? I am totally open to rereading a book. If you really enjoyed the book the first time you read it and you want to read it again, go for it. Who cares? Like, nobody's going to tell you not to. You can reread a book as much as you want. I have definitely reread books before, and I had a great time with it the second time around. And sometimes when you reread a book, you find things that you didn't notice the first time when you read it, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. So there's like extra little tidbits that you could get by rereading. So yeah, I'm all for rereading. What makes a good book? Action. For me, this is for me. I like action. Space battles. I'm kind of a sci-fi fantasy nerd. So magic, space battles, action. You can throw a little bit of like romance in there. It doesn't have to be like overpowering though, unless this is like an erotic book. Then you get a lot of romance. Ooh, a space erotic book. That would be cool. If anybody has space operas that are like sexy time, let me know. But yeah, that's all I really... Oh, also, I don't know if I'm like so much into like the angst anymore. When I was a teenager, I definitely read like the angsty books and I was very into them. But I kind of get annoyed by that now. Oh, also good communication. That's great, because we hate the miscommunication trope. We hate it. That actually goes into our next question. What makes a bad book? Miscommunication trope. Hate it. I hate it so much. It's like my least favorite trope of all. I just can't. Lots of people don't like love triangles. I do like love triangles. I think they're fun. Cheating. I hate when there's cheating in a book as well. I know it's necessary for some romance plots, but like, is it necessary? So, yeah. I don't know. I don't have too many for the negatives, but yeah, those are my answers. How do you feel about not finishing a book? So I try and finish all the books that I start reading. I have not finished books before, and honestly, I do kind of feel guilty when I don't finish a book. But like if it's a really bad book, then it's fine. I don't feel too bad moving on if it's a really bad book, but I have felt guilty before. But I also believe that like not well, I personally don't do it that much, but like if you need to DNF a book, then DNF a book. You are open to do whatever you want when reading a book, and if you need to DNF, if that's self-care for you, then you do it. Should authors' personal lives matter at all? This is a tough one because it's like some authors write awesome books, but then do really crappy things in real life. And then it's like, it's really hard for me to like kind of detach the author from the book. So anytime I would want to go read that book again, I would just think about all the crappy things that the author did. And yeah, which really is unfortunate. Like J.K. Rowling is a perfect example because they're heavy anti-trans, but they are also the creator of Harry Potter, which was a really great series for me growing up as a kid. But like I can't look at it the same anymore because of the way that the author has kind of like tainted themselves, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Like their personal lives should be separate, but at the same time, it's really hard to separate the two. And I think that things that they do in their personal lives definitely impact their books and their book series. If you could read only one genre for the rest of your life, what would it be? I think it would be a toss-up between sci-fi and fantasy because I love space. Like I love it. It's so cool. But then I also love magic. And there's so many different things you could do with like magic or fantasy because you could just like build infinite worlds. I mean, you probably could do the same thing with space. It's just like it's on different planets and stuff like that. So it would be a toss-up between one of them. Sci-fi or fantasy, I really can't decide because they're two of my favorite genres. And yeah, like I constantly bounce back and forth between them. So yeah, I can't choose between the two. But it would be one of those two. Do you ever read a book without knowing anything about it? All the time. I kind of like doing that. It's fun going into a book knowing nothing about it because then you have zero expectations and you can't be as disappointed by like hype or anything. Like for example, what was a book that I got really hyped about? Under the Whispering Door. I got super hyped about that book because everybody was talking about it, saying it was fantastic. And then it was kind of underwhelming for me. Like I only gave it like a 3.5, I think, out of 5 stars. So I think it would have been better if I went into that hearing nothing from anybody. I think it might have been like a little bit higher of a rating because of that. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's really fun just jumping into books knowing nothing because then you have nothing to like get like excited about before you start. And then it's a kind of like turning a fresh page and just going into it blind, knowing nothing. And it's fun. What author, genre, or series can you just not get into? I'm not a big fan of nonfiction. Like I find nonfiction really hard to read because it's like real life stuff. And like when I'm reading, I don't want real life stuff. I want to get away from that and do other things like magic or space. Like I said before, like I don't really want to deal with real life issues when I'm reading books. So I kind of like don't read nonfiction that much. I probably should because I know that nonfiction is like a very informative genre. So maybe I should try and read more of it, but like it's just so hard for me to get into. And then the last question is, do you think everyone should read and why? I do think everybody should read because I think reading like stimulates your brain so much and it stimulates your creativity and your imagination, and there's just so many possibilities of things that you can create in your mind when reading. And the best part about reading is that everybody visualizes it different. So we all see these characters and these worlds that are built, but we're all visualizing it in a different way or like slightly different. And I think that's so cool. I think that it's kind of like the multiverse, but like in our brains, which sounds really weird, but I just think it's so awesome that we all have a different vision of something that we're reading, but we all still have like that same story that we cling to. So yeah, no, I think everybody should read because it's such a cool activity. And it's just really cool to like flex your imagination and flex that creativity. Anyways, that's it for this tag. I'm not going to tag anybody, but if you guys want to do this tag, all the questions are in the description down below, as well as the link to Booktube Goddess's video because they linked me. So definitely go check theirs out as well. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you would have said for some of these answers, because yeah, they're very thought-provoking questions. So like, I would definitely want to know what you guys think. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as linked by my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Mondays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.